Hey Pokemon Masters, Toby here, and welcome back to Hisui Week, a new week with videos every single day about the Hisui region and about Arceus in celebration for Pokemon Legends Arceus. And today, it's kind of one of those classic compilation theory videos. There's not that much information about the Hisui region yet, but there are so many theories about Arceus out there. I have chosen 5 of my absolute favorites, some of which I've come up with, others of which I've worked with other people on, or I've just been really interested in, and kind of developed those theories a little bit too. And I'm just gonna go through them and share with you my thoughts about the god of the Pokemon world, if it really is a god of the Pokemon world. And I'll be looking out for things that confirm or conflict with these theories when I actually play the game. Before I start, don't forget, if you leave a comment on the video, you're in with a chance of winning a copy of Legends Arceus, because I'm giving away 3 copies when the game comes out. I will be playing it live on the day of release. I think it works out at about 2 p.m. GMT on the 27th, because that's when it's first out in Australia, thus when I can first stream it live here on the channel, so don't miss out on that. And at the end of the stream, I'll probably announce the winners, but all you gotta do, leave a comment, and heck, leave a like as well, because why not? Anyway, here we go, 5 Arceus theories, let's jump into it. Number 1, let's start with the fact that Arceus is absolutely not a god. Or at least it's not the whole of the god. According to Sinnoh mythology, there was at some time something called the Original One, and from the Original One, parts of it split off from itself. Dialga, Palkia, Mesprit, Azelf, Uxie, as well as the Arceus plates were created at around this time as well. What was left slept dormantly, and I believe that that is Arceus. It's what remains of the Original One after this energy. There was some kind of separation of the Original One to the beings that govern time and space and willpower and life and knowledge. I believe that also this is where Infinity Energy, Aura, the life force of all Pokemon, got split off, but more about that in a second. So if Arceus isn't a god, what is it? Well, it's just an incredibly powerful Pokemon, but perhaps it is the shell of the god that created the Pokemon world, or maybe not even. Maybe just a god that presides over the Sinnoh region. We still don't know that much about the mythos and beginning of the entire Pokemon world. What we do know for sure, though, is that this isn't the complete form, and if there is a time, and I don't know, Legends Arceus is the time that we'll see a new form of Arceus. And we know that this isn't the complete form because of Type Null, a Pokemon that is designed based on Sinnoh myth to sort of look like Arceus, but Type Null is not the Pokemon at its full power. Type Null was designed by the Aether Foundation to take on the Ultra Beasts, but it's not it at its full power, not at all. Instead, it wears this mask, this restraint that locks down its power, and you can see that that restraint is in the shape of the Arceus kind of symbol, the logo that surrounds Arceus's stomach. This symbol represents a restraint of power. We also see this in the animated series on Dialga and Palkia. Again, their powers are being restrained. So I am 99% sure that we're gonna get a new form in Legends Arceus because the regular form of Arceus has this same restraint, and according to the mythology, it was split into multiple pieces when it separated into all of the plates that are kind of like part of its body. And Dialga and Palkia and Mesprit, Azelf, and Uxie. So I'm pretty convinced that we're going to see a new form of Arceus, or that there is a more complete version of Arceus out there. Number 2, we also see, according to its Pokédex entries, that Arceus helped shape the world with its 1,000 arms. There's a couple of ways of interpreting this, but the most common one is that its 1,000 arms are the various unknown. Of course, there aren't 1,000 forms of unknown, although there are forms of unknown that we don't see in the video game series that we've seen in the animated series and the movie. But the unknown are mysterious creatures that are weak on their own, but powerful in groups. They exist in an alternate space, in an alternate dimension, and they seem to have these formations as if they're holding together sequences and code. I've done theories talking about how that could represent the code of the Pokemon world. I'll leave that for another video, but the point is that if this is the code of the Pokemon world, if that's what these letters represent, the code that's written the Pokemon world, that Arceus is using these unknown as its code writer. They're not arms as in physical arms, they're armaments, weapons, devices being used to shape the universe. And we actually catch a glimpse of this in the Sinjo Ruin of event where, if you take your Arceus with you, a noise plays. And that noise, I believe, is the noise of the Azure Flute. And I think the same noise as the radio signal from the ruins of Alph, where we meet the Unknown. And the Unknown information help Arceus shape reality in creating a new Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina egg. Similarly, we also see in the, I think in the Darkrai movie, when Dialga and Palkia do battle, the Unknown are sent rippling throughout the universe. So the Unknown and Arceus are probably related. In the third movie, we also see the Unknown with a sort of wise philosopher man type standing in the center of it all. Perhaps this is supposed to be some human representation of a god, but we know that the true god in the Pokemon world is Arceus. Number 3, there is though a different way to interpret the idea of a 1,000 arms, and this appeared for the first time in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where we saw a literal giant hand Pokemon with a very long arm. I'm talking, of course, about Eternatus, and its name, Eternatus, implies that it is eternal. It's existed since the beginning of time, which would place it right up there with other godly Pokemon like Dialga and Palkia, and certainly as a piece of Arceus. This is the Eternamax Eternatus is the skeletal remains of parts of Arceus that helped shape reality. When you battle it, it warps time and space. We see other locations. It certainly bends space. We don't actually know, I guess, about time. But Eternatus really has very little to do with the Sword and Shield legendaries Zacian and Zamazenta, other than it caused about the Darkest Day at some point, and that it happens to be housed in the Galar region, and that is Zacian and Zamazenta's home. But I think its origins are more deeply connected to the group of legendaries that sits in the Sinnoh region, and I think that's why we're getting the Sinnoh remakes in this generation with the Galar region, and Eternatus is the kind of connection to all of that. We also know that there is a connection between Galar and Sinnoh, because that was kind of symbolized with Calyrex and the Crown Tundra. The Crown Tundra being a big icy tundra, which is very invocative. It makes you think of Sinnoh. But on top of that, Calyrex is supposed to be a kingly Pokemon of the Galar region of an ancient time, and an ancient king, the royal family, was supposed to sort of be the connection point between the divine and the human. That is what the very tail end of Galar seems to represent, and of course the Galar region is the human side, and the Sinnoh region is the godly side, and I think we see that as well, again, like I say, in Eternatus, and that makes sense actually as to why you can get Type Null and Silvally in Pokemon Sword and Shield. A member of Macrocosmos, which by the way, unusual name for a Galar-focused team, sounds much closer to Team Galactic. They have a Type Null, likely because they are researching it and researching its origins in relation to Eternatus. Theory number 4 connects a lot of these past theories together though, because I have thought for the longest time that Eternatus and the Eternamax energy that allows for Pokemon to Gigantamax across the Galar region is the same as Infinity Energy, which allows Pokemon to Mega Evolve. After all, it is the Infinity Energy that is the life force of all Pokemon that allowed AZ to turn into a giant, so we've got a connection with giants right there. That 3,000 years ago, it fired up into the sky when the ultimate weapon filled with the life force energy of Xerneas or Yveltal. That was 3,000 years ago, the same time as the Darkest Day, which is the thing that happened in Galar, connecting to Eternatus. This same life energy can also be ascribed to the light energy of Necrozma. This is because Z crystals allow Pokemon to become more powerful in the same way that Mega Evolution does with Mega Stones and Gigantamax, and they've all got bands. It's that same light energy that comes through the Ultra Wormholes that is coming through from other realities, Necrozma's light energy, that powers up the Totem Pokemon that become bigger, they become giants and get that power boost, and actually the Z crystals literally act as Arceus plates if you attach them to Arceus in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's the same energy that existed overflowing in the ancient Pokemon world, causing Groudon and Kyogre to primal revert. These are all expressions of the same energy, and in fact in the first movie that featured a Sinnoh Pokemon, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, Lucario refers to Aura as the life essence of all Pokemon, and Infinity Energy is described as the life essence of all Pokemon and people. It's all the same energy being represented in different ways, and this finally comes together in Pokemon Legends Arceus, where we see there are the noble Pokemon, and the noble Pokemon, oh, I wonder if this ties in with Calyrex. Because Calyrex has like special Gigantamax energy that causes it to be blue. I need to do, see, this is why I do these, so that then my brain is thinking about these theories as we go forward to future videos and future theories. But as we see with these noble Pokemon, they're infused with a bright light that literally changes their size and makes them become more powerful. It's the same as Totem, it's the same as Gigantamax, it's the same as Mega, it's the same as Z Crystals, it's the same as Beast Boost. These things, they're all the same thing, it's the same as Aura, because this energy is the life essence of Pokemon that spread into the world the moment the original one split off into its various different parts. This is the energy that when combined with Arceus will revert it, in my opinion, back to its original one form. And finally, theory number 5. I know I'm a bit all over the place, right? What can I say? I've been rewatching a lot of the locked in This Is the End Pokemon theory, and he talks a lot about Arceus in that, and how the name Arceus comes from a term in alchemy. Arceus, just spelled differently. And what is fascinating about the real world Arceus is that it is referred to as coming in 4 parts. That is 4 parts. These 4 parts are chemical, life, light, and reflective. I want to talk about those 4 because they seem to line up very well with legendary Pokemon that we've been getting over the past few generations, all of whom share various traits. The legendary of Generation 1 is a human-made Pokemon, it's Mewtwo, fine. The legendaries of Generation 2, there's no like big super legendary that goes in the middle of Lugia and Ho-Oh. Then when we get to Rayquaza, I don't think that Rayquaza ties into this in any real way, but it's every big legendary since Sinnoh. Obviously in Sinnoh, it's Arceus is the big super legendary, right? It's a mythical Pokemon, but it's definitely the top of that hierarchy. Then in Unova, there's the original dragon, the combination of Kyurem and Reshiram and Zekrom, but we've not actually seen that. I think that's something we'll see in the future. In Pokemon X and Y, it's Zygarde, a Pokemon that is a dragon-type Pokemon that has multiple forms, including a perfect form, which is ridiculously powerful with high stats, that can only be created when you combine all of the Zygarde cores, which aren't really Pokemon. There is something extra about it, and the energy that it wields is the energy of what you can see in the little cores in its chest. It's got like the energy of like Xerneas and Yveltal, so the life force of Pokemon. I believe that perfect form Zygarde represents life, one part of the Arceus. Then in Pokemon Sun and Moon and Ultra Moon, the big Pokemon is Ultra Necrozma. Yet again, it's a form of Necrozma that has to combine with Solgaleo and Lunala to become this super powerful Pokemon with ridiculously high stats. It's not hard to see which Pokemon this is. This is light because it is literally a Pokemon that produces light that rivals Arceus in strength. You've got Perfect Zygarde and you've got Ultra Necrozma. Then in the latest generation, you have Eternatus, a third dragon, by the way. Dragon is very special within the types, but in third dragon, this one is a poison type that has a super form, the Eternamax form, which you can't even like have in battle, which is, again, I've already theorized its closeness to Arceus, but here we've clearly got chemical because it's the poison. So far, we've got life, light, and poison. The only one we don't have is reflective, and that could be something that we see either in the next generation of Pokemon, represented in Generation 9 by some mythical Pokemon, or as we're now bookending with Legends Arceus, where Arceus' story began in Diamond and Pearl, perhaps the original dragon is supposed to be the reflective element of the Arceus, which we haven't seen yet, but maybe we'll see in a future Legends Unova game. But reflective in that Kyurem is an ice dragon, and so maybe that somehow represents being reflective, like it's made up of an ice prism. Then again, if you combine it with Reshiram or Zekrom, it would presumably have the fire and electric elements. It's really a plasma Pokemon, so I don't know. It is thought of though as the original dragon, so maybe it would just be a pure dragon type and it isn't really one of these, but again, you've just got another Pokemon with a third bigger, super powerful form that we can only imagine what it's like. It seems to be that in my mind, the original dragon, the perfect Zygarde, the Ultra Necrozma, and then the Eternamax Eternatus, these 4 dragons that rival Arceus in strength are somehow part of the Arceus. Or maybe it is just Arceus itself, that is the reflective part of the Arceus that we will see in Legends Arceus. I don't know. Those are just 5 theories about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm very, very excited. The game's come out this week. I can't wait. I have to let me know. And let me know if you've got any different theories about Arceus in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. And of course, So hi, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master!
Wow, a huge thank you to those of you who are supporting this channel, especially those of you on Patreon, and the big patrons of this month, JD Gottlich, Pokebliss, Michael Hornshoe, and Jed Rubin. Thank you.